What if I told you that the most powerful knowledge in history has been hidden from you? The true alchemy, the one that awakens consciousness and reveals the truth behind the matrix, was never taught in schools. But here's the secret. It has always been reserved for a few. And if this knowledge has found you now, it's not by chance. For centuries, only 3 paths led to mastering true alchemy. The first was direct spiritual initiation. Some simply awakened. Invisible mentors, revealing dreams, memories of past lives. The knowledge was already within them. The second was access to forbidden texts, manuscripts hidden in monasteries and secret orders, written in codes undecipherable to those who weren't ready. And the third, the hardest of all, was becoming a disciple of an alchemist, a path of trials, tests, and years of dedication before even glimpsing the true secrets of transmutation. Now, look around you. The knowledge is accessible, but few truly master it. Maybe because the secret was never in books, but within you. Maybe because not everyone is ready to see. What if everything you believe about reality was an illusion? What if the life you live wasn't really yours, but a pre-written script designed to keep you distracted? The Matrix is not fiction. It's an invisible system of control that keeps humanity trapped without people even realizing it. There are no walls, no bars, no guards. The prison is in the mind. The first chain that binds us is survival. From an early age, we're programmed to believe that the purpose of life is to work, make money, and consume. Study, get a job, pay your bills, retire, and die. The system doesn't want you to question your existence, just to go with the flow, staying busy and exhausted. While you chase financial stability, a better job, or more material possessions, your lifetime slips through your fingers. And by the time you realize it, it's too late. But that's not all. The Matrix also controls your spiritual vision. You are taught to believe that reality is made only of matter, that everything can be explained by science, that the unseen is just fantasy. Spirituality, when allowed, comes through dogmas and limiting beliefs that don't free you. They just condition you. If you dare to see beyond, you'll be called crazy. But this limitation was created on purpose, because someone who discovers they are much more than a physical body becomes impossible to control. And if that wasn't enough, the Matrix uses polarization as a tool of manipulation. The system profits from chaos because a divided people will never awaken. Left versus right, religion versus science, men versus women, rich versus poor. The illusion of separation makes people waste energy fighting each other without realizing that the real enemy is the very system that manipulates them. The Matrix doesn't need to lock you up physically, it just needs to keep you blind. As long as you're distracted, busy, and emotionally invested in the narratives they push on you, you'll never look within. But there is a way out, and it has always been in alchemy. The role of alchemy in the liberation of consciousness. If everything you believe has been programmed by the Matrix, then how do you escape? The answer has always been right in front of us, but few can see it. Alchemy. What comes to your mind when you hear that word? Potions, metals, old manuscripts? That's what they made you believe. But the truth is, alchemy was never about turning lead into gold. That was just a code, a metaphor for something infinitely more powerful, the transmutation of the human being itself. The ancient masters knew something that modern science has only recently begun to prove. The external reality is just a reflection of our inner world. If your mind is trapped, your life will be a prison. If your mind is limited, your reality will be limited. But when you break the chains of the mind, the world around you changes. The first great alchemical transmutation is dissolving the illusion of the ego. This is the Matrix program running inside you. The ego creates an identity based on fear, scarcity, and separation. It tells you that you are small, that the world is happening against you, that change is beyond your reach. But what if that's a lie? The second key to alchemy is activating the heart as a portal. The ancients already knew what science is just beginning to understand. The heart is not just an organ, but a center of consciousness. It generates an electromagnetic field powerful enough to influence the reality around you. Alchemists called this state the philosopher's gold because those who awaken the heart access the frequency of creation. And finally, alchemy teaches how to purify the inner elements. What does that mean? You are made of opposing forces, masculine and feminine, mind and emotion, matter and spirit. But the matrix keeps you unbalanced. It wants you to live in extremes, to fight against yourself, to never find unity. But when you bring these forces together and harmonize them, something incredible happens. You awaken. And that is exactly why alchemy was hidden. Because an awakened humanity cannot be controlled. Who erased alchemy from the world? If alchemy has the power to free consciousness and dissolve the illusion of the matrix, why does no one talk about it? The answer is simple, because an awakened humanity cannot be controlled. Since ancient times, those who rule this world have known that true power doesn't lie in politics, money, or military force. It lies in knowledge. And that's why alchemy had to be erased from history. The first major attack on this knowledge came through religious institutions. The church persecuted alchemists, burned books, and demonized their practices. Why? Because alchemy teaches that God is not outside of us, but within. This meant that people didn't need intermediaries, dogmas, or temples to access the divine, and that was unacceptable to an institution that built its power on fear and submission. Then came the era of reason, materialist science. Anything that couldn't be measured or quantified was ridiculed. Alchemy was reduced to medieval superstition, when in reality it held the most advanced secrets of human consciousness. But while the public was taught to reject this knowledge, the elites hid it and studied alchemy within their own secret societies. The few who tried to reveal the truth were silenced, discredited, or simply erased from history. But now something has changed. The truth is resurfacing. Forgotten books are being rediscovered. Lost knowledge is coming back. The matrix is weakening, and those who hear the call of alchemy have a real chance to awaken and escape. But the question is, are you ready to see what has always been hidden? Does the philosopher's stone exist? The true meaning of alchemical gold. Humanity has always been conditioned to seek power outside itself. Since ancient times, kings and emperors have pursued external riches, temples have been built for distant deities, and modern science has taught that everything that exists can be measured and quantified. But true alchemists have always known that real gold is not something you can touch, it's something you become. The philosopher's stone was never a physical object capable of turning metals into gold, but rather an internal process, capable of transforming a limited human being into an awakened one. Alchemical texts speak of transmuting lead into gold, but this metaphor has always concealed a deeper secret. Lead represents dense consciousness, trapped by fear, ignorance, and the illusion of separation. Gold, on the other hand, symbolizes awakened consciousness, enlightened, free from the matrix. This explains why alchemy has been systematically ridiculed, banned, and hidden. If everyone discovered that true transmutation happens in the mind, body, and spirit, the matrix's game would collapse. There would no longer be people seeking salvation outside themselves, because they would understand that liberation has always been within them. But how does this transmutation happen? How can a dense human being, burdened with trauma and limitations, become this alchemical gold? The answer lies in the heart portal. Unlike the mind, which analyzes, separates, and questions, the heart is the seat of unified perception. It is through the heart that the true seeker breaks illusions and accesses expanded consciousness. The ancient sages knew this, which is why they said the heart is the key to the kingdom of heaven. But this portal does not open for just anyone. Most people are so deeply identified with the matrix that they never feel the call to cross it. They are trapped in the chase for money, the fear of the future, the guilt of the past. They are so absorbed in external noise that they never notice the deep silence within them. Those who awaken to alchemy, however, begin to notice that everything in life follows cyclical patterns. They realize that problems and challenges repeat, that the same pains return, that life seems to move in circles. This happens because the matrix was designed as a labyrinth with no exit, where the same patterns repeat until consciousness learns to break them. The alchemical gold is the one who understands this mechanism and frees itself. They realize that nothing happening outside is separate from what happens inside. They see that external reality is a mirror of their internal state. And then the philosopher's stone is activated within them. When this happens, everything changes. Perception expands. What once seemed impossible becomes clear. The bars of the mental prison disappear, and for the first time, the seeker realizes they were always free. But this is not the final stage. On the contrary, it is only the beginning of the true journey. Because those who awaken to the truth carry a great responsibility to cross the portal and finally leave the matrix behind. The portal out of the matrix. Something inside you has already realized that there's a path beyond this limited reality. You feel that the world you know is only a fraction of something much greater. But what exactly is hidden behind the veil? The answer has always been in internal alchemy, and the most sacred process of all, the hieros gamos, the alchemical marriage. Unlike what many believe, this marriage is not between two people in the physical world. That was a deliberate distortion made throughout history to steer humanity away from true transformation. The hieros gamos is the union of opposing forces within you, masculine and feminine, reason and intuition, matter and spirit. Throughout life, we've been programmed to believe we are incomplete beings, that we need to seek something outside ourselves to feel whole. The Matrix wants you to spend your existence searching for a soulmate, success, external validation, anything to keep you looking outward instead of inward. But that is the trap. The true secret that the great alchemists knew was this: you are already whole, but you were taught to feel fragmented. The hieros gamos is the process of reuniting what was separated within you. This is the great mystery behind the symbol of Hermes Caduceus, the six-pointed star, the yin-yang. They all speak of the fusion of the inner sun and moon, the ascension of the being to a new state of existence. When this union happens, an internal portal opens. What once seemed like a solid, unchangeable world begins to dissolve, revealing a much broader reality. This is the portal out of the matrix, but only those who have undergone internal transmutation can see it. The seeker who reaches this level of understanding realizes something essential. The matrix was never something external. It was a projection of their own fragmented mind. The illusion of the world only holds as long as you remain in internal conflict, as long as there is division within you. That's why the system needs to keep people distracted, polarized, trapped in external wars. But when you reconcile your internal dualities, the game changes. You become free. And here's the most well-guarded secret in history: a unified human being cannot be manipulated. The false alchemy: how the matrix distorts the truth. If true alchemical knowledge sets you free, why are so many people still trapped? Because the matrix didn't just hide alchemy. It also created false versions of it. And these illusions serve to confuse seekers, leading them away from the real path of transmutation. The matrix can't stop everyone from awakening, but it can make most people wake up to a false path, an illusion of evolution that leads nowhere. This manifests in different ways, with the three main ones being superficial spirituality and toxic positivity. At some point, the Matrix realized it couldn't stop people from seeking spirituality. So it turned the awakening journey into a commercial product. It created a market where everything is simplified, where there's no effort or discipline, just motivational quotes and promises that thinking positive is enough to change your reality. But real alchemy was never about running from pain or pretending everything is fine. The alchemical process involves death and rebirth, ego destruction, and facing your shadow. During the calcination stage, everything you believe yourself to be is reduced to ashes. In dissolution, your old certainties dissolve like salt in water. Anyone who has been through this knows it's not a comfortable process. The problem is that this shallow spirituality preaches that any discomfort is bad, that any shadow should be ignored. As a result, people never truly transform. They stay trapped in a loop of positivity, where it seems like everything is changing, but in reality, nothing does. Materialism disguised as spirituality. Another trick of the Matrix is making enlightenment seem like an external achievement. It created a system where spiritual success is measured by money, fame, and recognition. True alchemists always taught that real gold is internal, but the Matrix inverted this teaching, making people believe that financial success is proof of awakening. And so, the millionaire gurus appeared, selling magical formulas to attract wealth and power without any real inner transformation. They created a new religion based on a misunderstood law of attraction where the universe is supposedly a cosmic bank ready to give you anything as long as you visualize it correctly. This is not alchemy. This is just another ego game. True transmutation happens when you stop being a slave to the external. When the gold inside you shines so brightly that nothing outside can control you. Polarization and the war between opposites. Alchemy teaches that evolution happens through the union of opposites. The great secret of the masters has always been to harmonize masculine and feminine, reason and intuition, science and spirituality. But the Matrix knows that a divided humanity will never awaken. So, it created the illusion of separation. It fueled wars between men and women, skeptics and spiritualists, tradition and progress. It built systems that promote only one side of the coin while demonizing the other. This way, people never reach the state of conjunction, the moment when all aspects of the self are balanced and consciousness rises. They remain trapped in conflict, in duality, unable to see that they have always been one. This is the false alchemy that the Matrix offers, a path that seems spiritual but never leads to liberation. But there is a real path, one that only a few have the courage to follow. The first steps to inner transmutation. If you've made it this far, it's because you feel something moving inside you. Maybe it's a calling. Maybe it's an ancient memory awakening. But one thing is certain, you are no longer the same. The awakening of alchemy doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, and like every process, it requires surrender. It's not enough to want to change. You must be willing to die and be reborn as many times as necessary. And the first step on this journey is simple but not always easy. Looking within. Self-knowledge, the map of your labyrinth. Imagine you've spent your entire life inside a labyrinth. Each wall represents a limiting belief. Each dead end, a repetitive pattern in your mind. The problem is that most people never realize they're inside this maze. They just keep moving forward, repeating the same route, never understanding why they never get anywhere. Alchemy begins when you stop and observe. What stories have you been telling yourself? What voices echo in your mind? Do you believe life is a struggle? That you're not good enough? That happiness is always just out of reach? The Matrix programs your mind to run the same patterns, and you can only break them once you start seeing them. Internal alchemy. Working with the elements. The ancient masters knew that human beings are a fusion of the four elements and that transmutation only happens when these elements are in balance. Fire. Your life force, your will, your creative drive. But also your anger, impatience, and destruction. Without control, fire consumes everything. Without presence, it dies out. Air. Your thoughts, your rational mind. Pure air brings clarity, insight, and wisdom, but turbulent air creates confusion, anxiety, and endless doubts. Water. Your emotions, your unconscious. Balanced water brings flow and intuition, but murky water hides fears, traumas, and resentment. Earth. Your body, your foundation, your structure. Fertile earth bears fruit, but hard earth prevents growth. Internal alchemy begins when you learn to master these elements within yourself. When your fire is balanced, It gives you strength without burning you. When your water is pure, it reflects truth without distortion. When your air is calm, it guides you without getting lost. When your earth is fertile, it grounds you without trapping you. If any of these elements are in excess or lacking, you will be in imbalance. And where there is imbalance, there is suffering. Activating the heart, the portal out of the matrix. The most forgotten part of alchemy isn't in the laboratory or ancient books, it's inside you. The heart is not just an organ, it is a powerful electromagnetic field, a transmitter and receiver of realities. The ancients called this force the sacred fire. Modern science confirms that the heart's magnetic field is dozens of times stronger than the brain's, and that its oscillations influence not only your own biology, but also the world around you. This means that true transmutation doesn't happen in the mind. It happens when you learn to align your internal vibration with the unified field of reality. Heart alchemy is what allows you to collapse your own matrix, but to do this, you must first clear the blockages that prevent you from feeling this force within yourself. Every unhealed pain, every suppressed fear, every stored resentment acts as an invisible weight, keeping you trapped in old patterns. The way out of the matrix begins when you learn to silence the mind and feel what has always been there. And once that portal opens, reality is never the same again. The greatest trick of the mental prison. The matrix was designed to make you believe that you have no control over your life. From an early age, you're taught that everything is the result of chance, luck, fate, or the decisions of others. But this is the greatest trick of the mental prison. A true alchemist knows that consciousness doesn't just interpret reality, it creates it. Everything you experience in the external world is a reflection of your internal state. If you live in fear, you will attract situations that reinforce that fear. If you believe in scarcity, you will see doors closing. If you feel unworthy, you will always encounter rejection. This isn't superstition, it's a fundamental law of the universe. Quantum physics has already shown that reality responds to observation. The double-slit experiment proved that matter behaves differently depending on the consciousness that observes it. This means the world is not fixed, it responds to your internal vibration. So the question is, how can you change that vibration? The first step is to focus your energy on what you want to create. Instead of feeding fear and doubt, direct your attention to what you want to manifest. The matrix trains your mind to focus on problems, but alchemy teaches that where you place your attention, you place your energy, and that's what grows. The second step is to free yourself from limiting beliefs. Most of your thoughts aren't actually yours. They were implanted by a system that wants you to keep playing the game of scarcity, guilt, and limitation. Observe your beliefs, question them. Who told you that you can't? Who convinced you that you need to suffer to be worthy? The third step is understanding that everything in the universe is vibration. Emotions, thoughts, words, everything emits a frequency. Have you ever walked into a place and felt heavy energy? Or met someone whose presence was inspiring, even without them saying a word? That happens because we are constantly exchanging energy with our environment and with others. If you want to change your life, you need to change your vibration, and that starts from within. Once you realize that the matrix has no power over you, something shifts. The game changes. You start seeing patterns you never noticed before. You see how people are trapped on autopilot, living according to programs they don't even know exist. And most importantly, you realize that you have a choice. If this knowledge has reached you, it wasn't by accident. There's a reason why you felt something different while reading these words. Maybe it was a chill, a sense of déjà vu, or just a subtle discomfort, like something inside you trying to remember something long forgotten. But now comes the most important part. What are you going to do with this? Awakening doesn't happen because you read a text or watched a video. It happens when you decide to act, when you consciously choose to step out of autopilot and begin the process of transmutation. Knowledge alone doesn't set anyone free. What sets you free is applying that knowledge in real life. Now you have two options. Stay in the matrix. Keep living the same way, ignoring this calling. Pretend you don't know what you know. Accept the limitations imposed by the system and continue playing the game the way you always have. Or begin your own alchemical journey. Start observing your mind, your emotions, your patterns. Question reality. Seek internal transmutation. Open the portal to a level of consciousness where the matrix no longer has control over you. The choice has always been yours, but remember, alchemy only reveals itself to those who are ready to see it. Before you go, there's something very important waiting for you. For those who want to dive even deeper, in the first pinned comment, I've set aside 2 essential books on alchemy for those who want to understand its true meaning and power. Also, if you'd like to support the channel directly, there's a way for you to send me a message, whether to say thank you, share your experience, or suggest new videos, and I'd be more than happy to have your support. I also want to take this moment to thank everyone who supports this channel, whether by watching the videos, commenting, or contributing financially. Thank you so much for everything. See you in the next video.